Hello and welcome back for Game 2 of the day. 100 Thieves are challenging our current Spring Split leaders, Cloud9, a team coming in hot off of some strong showings in the jungle from Blabber. Ain't that right, Kobe?
Surprise! Blabber's still performing well despite some jungle nerfs.
What
Honestly,
a shock!
I was so happy in the Champ Select when I finally got a flex to jungle Gragas, because I think it is so good right now, and he should be able to be flexed to all different lanes. And Cloud9 brought back their classic, the Yasuo Gragas combination. +1, plus the entire Bronze Zodio composition with a bunch of knockups for perks there. But specifically looking at Blabber, he still racked up all these extra kills here on the Gragas, was a huge AP threat for the team in addition to being the main playmaker. And if you watch the heist, Closer has these big outbursts about anytime they play versus Cloud9 and Blabber specifically. I would assume that most junglers in the league look specifically at their matchups versus Blabber, but his reactions are so over the top when playing against Blabber that you can maybe infer that he might have some sort of mental block. He at the very least looks up to him as a very strong opponent. So this is going to be some hyper focus, I know, from both sides.
That's an NA jungler, Kobe.
Let's go, Blabber.
Oh, God. One thing I do want to shout out is that a lot of people were looking at this patch as something that would continue to be good for Blabber, but I thought it was really funny that in the post-match interview yesterday, he's like, yeah, I can feel it. Like, I can feel the loss of XP, and I actually think this is arguably even a better patch for him, so I really like what we've been seeing from him.
I was rocking some different colors there for a moment. But yeah, Blabber's really been bringing out some work here in the jungle. And I love that even in the end, he was kind of debating with himself how much he felt from that change in 11.4. I think one area that we also have to look at, Crumbs, though, is on the 100 Thieves side, how Demonte is doing with the picks that they have been bringing out.
Yeah, and I think it's important to state that everybody's really experimenting with the mid laners. It's not just 100 Thieves. They're trying to move away from the globals that we saw before to different kinds of styles. So now 100 Thieves is still in that boat, and they're struggling to figure out how to make this work. I don't think it has to do much with Demonte. It's a team game. We heard from the interview how important it is to supports roaming into the mid lane. So I still think it's a whole effort in understanding how to play around control mages with 100 Thieves. And they're getting those team fights, big wombo combos, but very late into the game, not early enough. So it takes a long time, and you still see teams with players like PoE that are amazing control mages still struggle to make it work.
Yeah, I'd say specifically the difference between a lot of these early dives and aggressive plays versus more scaling being in the meta. And we're seeing that a lot from the mid lane, as you're saying.
And this is the matchup that we'll be facing today, Emily. How do you think these two are going to fare, especially considering that Crumbs was saying earlier he thinks Perks is the best Yasuo that we've been seeing in NA?
Yeah, I mean, Perks is playing. Oh, wow. We talked about this. I talked about this the other day when I was on AD. But I think Perks is playing really, really well. And not only that, C9 are kind of the opposite, where they seems to have really found how they want to use perks. As much as, again, like you can bring up the joke of, well, they're putting him on Yasuo, they're putting him on Lucian, they're putting him on Tristana, they're putting him on AD carries, so it's like he never left the bot lane. But I think in this meta specifically, Azir is a champion that whenever he's in meta, he dictates a lot of the counter picks as well, not just the fact that he is high priority. And I think Perks individually as a player just has a ton of answers. So this is a really good meta for him, and I think C9 have been playing around him really well.
I just want to point out real quick for that graphic, Perks #1 in kills, Demonte #1 in assists for mid laners.
Ooh.
Encapsulates their styles.
Yeah, that's really nice.
They're going to be clashing in just a moment. Also worth noting, I think, Kobe, you had mentioned the heist earlier, and I think it was in one of those episodes where Zeke's asked all of them, do you feel we play differently against Cloud9? And they all nodded in agreement. So I'm excited to see what happens in this game between 100 Thieves and Cloud9. Let's send things over to Flowers and Azael to call the cast.
Thank you all very much. We are back. We are ready for this game. We threw a fresh coat of paint on all them stupid caster minion projectiles so everybody can see them now and we don't get confused anymore. Isaac's been solving mysteries behind the scenes the whole time because he had to make up for the trauma that he went through not being able to solve Sword Art's death. But we are back.
We're here.
We're
here. It's true, man. 100 Thieves, Cloud9. It's going to be a banger. Battle at the top of the table. right now coming to you. I'm actually so excited for this game, especially with the additional context of 100 Thieves feeling like they play a different style versus Cloud9, maybe sometimes getting in their own head. So I want to see if they can come into this feeling relaxed, feeling confident, and really going at their opponents, because 100 Thieves at their best are a team that plays incredibly aggressive, and that is also a style that Cloud9 does. So if you get into this kind of like mental block sometimes, you can change your style to try to respond to everything your opponent's doing. And I think if you're doing that against Cloud9, you're already losing, so you have to have confidence.
Well, they are confidently going to ban away two of the best marksmen on the patch right about now, as Kai'Sa and Tristana are both banned away. Now we've got the Gragas banned out too, with Rel, Thresh, and Renekton all banned away by C9.
I mean, Fudge has been playing a ton of Gragas, so taking that away from him. Tristana, not only a good bot laner, but Perkz has actually played it twice already in the mid lane, so going to be a double ban there, but it does mean Udyr and Olaf are both up, so very intentional, as Udyr is basically 100% banned right now on the red side. So they're willing to make this trade. Very clearly, Cloud9 knows it's going to be one of those being picked up. It is going to be the Olaf or Blabber, the immediate Seraphine as the pairing. Seraphine could be played really in three roles here. It could be support, could be farming bot lane, could be mid lane. But that pairing, just in general, it doesn't even matter which role he plays, is so damn good. The shielding and speed up gives so much additional power to Olaf, as well as the range extender on the ultimate, because Olaf is placing himself exactly where you want someone to actually extend the range of your ultimate, right? You throw it through the Olaf, and then it goes through the Olaf. It extends additionally past that onto the backline of the opposing team, and that can really enable his dive.
Seraphine's ulti starts out like Sona's ulti, but then it follows Pokemon rules. And instead of using a Moonstone to evolve it, you use an Olaf to evolve it into an Ezreal ult. And then it goes across the whole map and you win the team fight. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3-zy.
Like a conga line.
Yeah, it's great. Unless you're the team having to play against it, then it's like wins and nerfs. But we got Azir picked up here from 100 Thieves. We got Gnar picked up. Ooh. So 100 Thieves are going into the second half of this draft with the entire top half of their map already picked out.
So with Gragas banned out, and with Aurelia, Camille, and these champions left up, it feels like you're daring Cloud9 to pick a carry for top lane, right? It feels like they're begging them to, and they're going to get their wish here. So it will be Camille, it will not be Aurelia, but this is a fairly aggressive answer into the Gnar. You have to play safe, you have to not get chipped down too much, but post-Mega, when Gnar is exhausted and he can't actually get back into that form, there is potential for Camille to look for the ultimates. Camille ult on a mini Gnar with Olaf coming in spells death pretty much all the time, unless the Gnar is ridiculously ahead. So that is a pretty frightening combo. And already you're going to have a lot of jungle priority up on that top side. It does make you think that it's going to be an AP mid laner here for Cloud9. So if I'm 100 Thieves, I'm double banning AP mids that I am worried about. I would say TF Galio. I think it is risky to actually leave Galio up here when you are already having that Camille down. That pairing is just too powerful when you're looking at dive into the backline, not only just for killing off the Gnar early in the game, but also for diving on top of champions like Azir in the team fights. It is really high risk if they leave that up. So we'll have to track if Cloud9 are going to be able to grab that, or if 100 Thieves want to ban it out.
Well, we've got Kalista and Pantheon banned away. 100 Thieves, yeah, there it is. Galio banned away, not willing to make that risk. Makes a lot of sense. I would be scratching my head pretty hard if they just give the Galio over for C9 to be able to take it here as their round 4 pick. But let's see what Cloud9 wants to do. Remember, these picks are not just going to show us what they're locking in, but also where Seraphine is going to go after they get the champions for the other roles.
Yep. With the support coming through, if this does get locked in, then it's mid or it's bot. But realistically, I do think it's going to be going bot at this point. It feels like you're really low on damage overall. Camille and Olaf, sure, but you want to have some sort of an AP threat, or the opposing team is going to stack so much armor because there's already Udyr, Tahm Kench, and Gnar, right? I really do think you need a legitimate AP threat to be able to make some sort of a punish on that. I think Orianna would work. There are more aggressive options that you could go towards, but I think this pairing is strong with Camille and Olaf if they want to go towards it. But it's going to be LeBlanc. So
something more aggressive.
Yeah, this is very aggressive, and this is allowing it to dive into the backline, to be able to either poke someone down and then initiate the engage thereafter with Rakan, Olaf, Camille, everyone flying through. All of those champions in the front line for Seraphine to extend the ultimate off of, and Perkz can obviously follow up on that. Where this falls short is if you fall behind at all, there's no way you can ever play front to back. this is one of the worst front-to-back style of compositions you can play. You know, you have to get to the back line. You can't just have, you know, your Olaf and Camille and your LeBlanc hitting the Udyr, who's just going to be stacking armor and the Tahm Kench and whatnot, right? You have to get to the Senna. You have to get to the Azir. So the barrier of execution is fairly high for Cloud9. They need to find multiple angles. They need to reach that back line. Whereas 100 Thieves, it's their job to just peel for the Azir and the Senna, utilize the Tahm Kench to grab people out of the Camille wall, keep them safe, ward their flanks. Because if they can play a slow fight, they are going to come out on top in a lot of those.
And the range of both Azir and Senna is especially scary, talking about those front-to-back comps. If you want to avoid playing front-to-back, you've got to have the angles. You've got to have those flanks. But that only increases in difficulty exponentially as your opponents have more and more range. You have to consider more and more how difficult it will be to close that distance.
And I also think in games like this, because Cloud9 also has a really strong 1-3-1, you know, when you think about Azir and Gnar in a side lane later in the game versus a Camille and a LeBlanc, it's very heavily in the favor of Cloud9. Yes, there is a Tahm Kench to maybe mix things up a little bit, change that around. There's the Senna ultimate to try to help those sidelines as well. But I still think it's very heavily in the favor of Cloud9. So it really becomes about, oftentimes in these games, can you actually take the early dragons? Because if you're the 5v5 team and you need to force this team to fight you 5v5 before you're too far behind, the way you do that is by forcing an early dragons. You stack them up, you threaten Soul, and then Cloud9 all of a sudden can no longer ignore it and must come and answer you, must come and fight you. And I think that's what, you know, both these teams are going to be trying to do. If Cloud9 gets the early dragons, they're going to be having so much time with which to work, right? They're going to be having tons and tons and tons of time to be able to split push the game out and try to look for picks.
Blabber will start here on the bottom side. Closer will be doing the same. Conqueror on your Olaf. Phase Rush on Udyr. Everything's pretty standard here. Top side, it's Grasp versus Grasp here for them. FBI running the Glacial Augment here on the Senna in bottom lane, so a little bit of extra slowing power with that one. And then over in mid, Electrocute for both of our laners. I always like to check in. Whenever it's in a Azir meta, I always like to look at his Keystone in particular just because it changes so much from matchup to matchup.
He is getting so low there.
He's just maximizing, bro. It's min-max.
Yeah, with the poke he took from the Azir, it was making me nervous a little bit. Because that was kind of weird, because he walked mid lane, and it looked like he maybe wanted to get an axe thrown down. I don't know if he was just having some fun or what, because he didn't even, I don't even think, attempt to throw an axe. So he just gave him mana flow band proc over to Damonte to start things off. But it's going to be able to have a very speedy clear. Now, of course, we'll get low, but we'll be able to power through there. Blabber has been the fastest, you know, at the level 6 mark. He has had the fastest clears that we have tracked in general. This guy is ridiculously fast on the Olaf. So good at actually power farming, at pushing forward the pace of the game, and then being able to really make use of that gold, both last year and this year, has been frightening on it. And as a result, usually Olaf is just not left available to him.
Perkz jumps forward with the Distortion, but he barely misses the AoE on Distortion, so now he flashes after it. He grabs the first blood. Damonte, what are you doing?
Damonte was playing that way too casually. So what I think Damonte was doing, he's walking to top side, he's saying, bro, my jungler's behind me, stop chasing me. And Perkz just called the bluff. He said, no, he's not. I'm going to check. I still have my flash available. I'm LeBlanc. I could distort out of here, maybe even. And it just looked to me like this is Damonte, you know, doing a very common play, playing towards that top side. But I think the pixel brush here for Cloud9 actually makes the difference. You know, there is a ward. You can't actually see it. But on the minimap, you can see that red ward. And perhaps having that there allowed Perkz to know, no, the Udyr's not behind you. I will face check this brush. I will chase you down and kill you off. And Perkz plays with confidence there, calls the bluff of Damonte, and that is just a really heads-up play from him. Yes, it looks silly from Damonte, but if you go back to other games, there's probably 10, 20 instances of a mid laner in a situation like that that just dips into the side brush and the opponent backs off, knowing the jungler could be behind them.
Well, Perkz is not a man to be intimidated, clearly picking up that easy first blood for Cloud9. But look at the state of the gold, Isaac. 6.1 to 6.0, and the team that got the first blood is actually the one that's behind. And that's because when you're looking at the farm across every lane, these early laning phases are all favoring 100 Thieves.
Yep, going very well for them. It is that farming TK down in the bot lane. FBI going to be really amping up the gold there. And if you're farming even as the Tahm Kench against the Seraphine, your 2v2 will just have more gold. Because Relic Shield versus the Scythier, you know, that support item for Senna, is not really close, or maybe it's a sickle. I always get that wrong. But you're able to actually farm so much gold off of these champions if you are effectively trading both with the Spell Thieves as well as the AD version here. So I expect the 2v2 gold to be pretty heavily in their favor, even if the people picking up the minions are even on farm.
You can see, I like the very early Executioner's calling here from FBI. First item out of anything, not worrying about nothing else until he makes sure he's cutting down those heals because of the fact that he's up against a double healing enemy lane. The value that he gets there should be really, really high on that one particular purchase. I
agree, and it'll be interesting to see if FBI wants to go into, Serpent's Fang or anything like that. I think that item can be pretty undervalued, and on Senna, who can build lethality pretty effectively when you have the AoE shielding coming through from Seraphine, when you have the shielding being applied by the Rakan, as well as the passive shield from Fudge, plus presumably you're going to get Asterix on the Olaf as well. Getting the bonus damage on both the spells and attacks on all of those champions, I think, can be pretty valuable and quickly outpaces the additional stats you get from a lot of those other lethality items.
That's the thing that makes it difficult, right? Like, that's the thing that keeps a lot of players from trying items like this. They know what other items do. They know that these items have been deemed good, and making the critical evaluation during the game itself of saying, okay, this is one where we can do that, is a skill that I think a lot of players still do not have mastered. But we'll keep an eye on those builds as time marches forward. It is still a minor gold lead here for the side of 100 Thieves. No neutral objectives taken yet here in this match. The Drake is alive. Both junglers are on the bottom half of the map, and you can see rotations coming out of the bottom lane duos from both sides. Closer and Blabber both level 5. Summoner spells available and ready to go here. Demonte level 6 on the Azir. Perks singing the same song on LeBlanc. As Cloud9 has control over the bottom side river, they will secure the Scuttle Crab. That's a pretty big Scuttle Crab considering it got Blabber level 6. Perks
no kidding, and they're going to actually chase down.
Forces the flash out of Huhi, who flashes away and then can save FBI thereafter.
And all that Scuttle, pressure around that Scuttle was because of the early priority on Dragons. I talked about how much this matters for both teams. It matters for Cloud9 because it allows them to split the map to have additional time to gain side lane advantages. And it matters for 100 Thieves because that can force Cloud9 to 5v5 you when you are strong. So both of these teams are going to have extra priority around that bottom side river. Just look at all the wards in that quadrant compared to top side. Yeah. There's almost nothing up there. Whereas, there's 200 Thieves pink wards down on that bottom side, one in the jungle, one in that river brush, as well as, a number of wards from Cloud9. It's a lot of emphasis on preventing any dragon sneak, as well as being able to set up for those dragons yourself.
You could draw a line down mid lane and separate this map. The top half of the map is what it looks like when you first start playing League of Legends and you're in like Silver 4. And then the bottom half of the map is what happens after you're playing for a while and you're up there in like Diamond or whatever where people actually ward. It's just such a stark contrast between what's going on here.
As a top laner is just bottom half of the map, places people care about. Top half of the map, you're never seeing your teammates.
The opposite of what people care about. Someday in Fudge, we'll just continue trading back and forth a little bit.
Blabber.
But Blabber has finally decided it is time to care about the top lane. The Gnar is big, but he is not big enough to get away. And Fudge takes the kill credit on that one. Cloud9, 2-0.
Yeah, maybe they should have cared a little bit more about that top lane. Fudge going up there. Has the ultimate, and it looked like a nicely timed ult. I do think he actually immune the Mega Gnar there. But this is the combo I'm talking about. If you go mini and you get Camille ulted with Olaf there, there's just no outplaying it. You're just dead. A really well-timed ulti there from Fudge to immune getting scooped away. Blabber's on top. There was no ward in the river, so he didn't retreat early enough, and that is guaranteed kill every single time if you can set that up. So we'll see if Cloud9 continue to play towards that, and if 100 Thieves put a little bit more emphasis on protecting it, but surprisingly enough, 2 kills on the side of Cloud9. Gold still dead even. So 100 Thieves continuing to get more value out of the actual laning. Additional farm for them, the additional gold on the support item. Of course, there is a limit to that from what FBI can get. You're going to hit that 1K and then the support item turns off, whether you do that at 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. So it's not, infinite value there, but still going to be really nice to get that early lead.
100 Thieves looking for Shelly. They're saying, all right, if we can't go for the Drake play because they're going to hard contest it every single time, they shouldn't have as many resources invested here into the top side of the map. So although Cloud9 has a ward to see that Shelly is being taken, they will not be able to stop it, but this is still a green light for Blabber to then move down there as a one-man army and take the Dragon as the response. So neutral objective trade here will be 1-for-1 once the dust settles, but back in the mid lane, Damonte tries to go after Perks. He trades his ulti for a distortion, and that's not the kind of trade you want to be making.
No, good attempt, but not going to be able to connect there. And we will see Closer heading back up towards that top side. He has the Herald, as you pointed out, and you can expect them to want to try to get a lot out of this. I do think, if they can knock another plate or two, it could just be a drop top, and it looks like they are potentially just going to walk up here and maybe do just that, but thinking better of it now. There's also the option of just trying to get Someday back in it, right? You go to Someday's lane, you try to pressure the Camille, you try to make sure that he has the gold, because you don't want Someday falling too far behind the Camille.
You also don't have a ton of pressure to have to drop the eyeball right now, right? We're only 10 minutes into the game. There's still 4 more minutes to go of those plates being around. So Closer has the chance to just let this one ride a little bit, feel out his options. If he really thinks there's a ton of value to be had with this Rift Herald being summoned up in a lane to take the last 2 plates and secure first turret itself, hey, that's a possibility. Total gold on the left side of the screen. You can see his Perks, the man who's got the most money. Blabber's right up there with him, and the richest man on 100 Thieves happens to be no man at all, but rather a catfish frog. It is 103 CS for Huhi here in the bottom lane, but now Someday finds himself caught in the middle of 2 once more, but the backup has arrived. Is it there in time? Someday dies, Fudge gets over the wall, he escapes. It's a double kill back to 100 Thieves, back to Cloud9, excuse me, it's 100 Thieves. Dropping over, falling to the ground, Fudge is right back in, Closer's running out. Blabber continues the chase here, and now Perks will lose his clone, but 100 Thieves, that does not work out.
They're the ones trying to initiate that play. They're going forward with Udyr behind them, with Damonte TPing in. But that ain't no regular Viking. Blabber turning it on the Olaf, laying the smackdown. Now has those 2 early kills. He got so much work done here. You can see it's them looking for the initiation. Look at the position of Closer. Blabber was here, though, with perfect timing, pre-ulting the CC coming out there from Someday, and while they try to focus down Fudge, he just got so much damage out, hitting multiple people with every swing of that axe, throwing it through multiple members there from 100 Thieves, and he absolutely punishes them for looking for that play. Closer, nice sidestep, does allow him to survive, but Cloud9 are coming out on top in every one of these fights, and now Gore Drinker is completed. The Trinity Force is completed for Fudge, so the top side of the map gets even more difficult to play towards if you're 100 Thieves.
I like the fact that Closer waited as long as he did to use the flash to escape. He made sure that Camille had already found the direction she was traveling in for the stun to guarantee his escape. But when the best thing that you can say about a fight is, hey, at least not everybody died, you know there's a bit of an issue here for 100 Thieves. And finally, the first blood, it was still a gold advantage for 100 Thieves. Second blood, still gold even. Finally, after these next 2 kills come in, C9 sees themselves with a gold lead of about 1,000 here, as 100 Thieves will now look for the opportunity to use the Rift Herald here in the bottom lane. The timer is going to expire rather soon, but this is what I was talking about earlier, Azael. This was Closer waiting. This is Closer's patience being rewarded, as they will get deeper plates off of this turret. This is nearly going to kill it. This should kill this off right here at the very end with the headbutt. Boom! There it goes. Tier 1 turret is down, and Closer ends up making the right call. The gamble pays off, and 100 Thieves get the first turret.
And they're up in gold now. Continue to get more out of these objectives, out of those lanes. Cloud9 tried to make the move down towards bot side to potentially punish an overstay, but 100 Thieves, as soon as they got the tower down low enough, they didn't even stay around to make sure they had that Rift Herald down. They knew they had enough damage to actually finish off that turret. They all retreated and are going to be able to collect that gold, collect that turret without Cloud9 able to land any sort of a counter punch here, as Cloud9 was looking to try to start a fight, and again are going to do so.
Well, they're coming down for a counter to the counter punch. What do you got here? 100 Thieves? Nope, they are evasive, just getting all the way out of town, recognizing Cloud9's got to be up to something, because even if they weren't pushed up too far, there's a Drake spawning in under 40 seconds now. So 100 Thieves recognizes that if Cloud9 wants to stack Drakes, they must pay attention to the bottom half of the map. Someday will continue collecting plates here as they finally do fall away, so that extra 160 gold is just in time. And 100 Thieves may just be able to pick up their second turret of the game right here, right now.
It was a solid TP from Huhi. Just the pressure alone pushes Fudge back off the turret, and it's going to be the full tower because the plate's expired. It's not that tanky at that point in the game. Someday able to pick up the solo turret gold there, got some more plates as you already called out, and he gets the additional farm. So, his gold is going to be pretty much even now, you would expect, with Fudge, and he should be able to complete his mythic item here as well.
Okay, Drake is alive. Blabber's already in the pit. Does 100 Thieves want to try to contest for this one, or do we just see them let it go? Right now, it's looking like they're singing a soundtrack to Frozen, my friends. See you later, Mr. Dragon. Adios. And now we've got ourselves a 2-0 Drake lead for the side of Cloud9. They're up in kills, they're up in Drakes, but they're down in turrets, and they're down in gold. So what do we need to see here, Isaac, if 100 Thieves wants to get on the board? If they want to build those leads in a traditional sense and grab some kills, what's the play?
I mean, I think the play is going to be continue to gather as much gold as you can. It seems like they're prioritizing gold over fighting for every objective right now, and then show up to the next dragon as Vulcan maybe getting killed off right here.
Vulcan gets away, and a massive Seraphine ulti finds 3. FBI is gobbled up to be kept alive, but now he's not going to survive any longer. Blabber grabbing a killing spree off of that one. Damonte throwing out the wall to buy them an escape. And right when it looked like 100 Thieves might get a punish, it's Sven with that huge Seraphine ulti to save the day.
The counter engage on Seraphine is so powerful. You've got to keep track of where she is in any one of these fights. Vulcan does get interrupted on his W, and I think that gave them the confidence to think, hey, we can actually chase this down. But he has the ulti for the speed up, jumps back to the rest of his team. Blabber going forward. This is the combo I talked about in draft. You get a max range Seraphine ult onto the Olaf, and then that extends it double into the backline, connecting on multiple members. And now you are CC'd up with this long charm, and the charm is forcing you to walk into the Olaf, who's just going to absolutely destroy you. A huge combo there from Cloud9 gets them even more, and now they're not even ahead in gold on the side of 100 Thieves here. Nice route, though.
Okay, yeah, Perks jumped in there, wanted to get some cheeky damage, but he ends up being the one regretting that decision. FBI and Huhi have taken no damage at all, and Perks lost 3/4 HP. Getting stuck underneath the turret can really mess up your plans.
Yeah, he was counting on the 1v2, was not counting on the 1v3. The turret, making it too unfair of a fight there, but I think 100 Thieves are going to start showing up to these dragons. My guess is that they are going to show up for the third dragon and try to fight. They were trying to extend the gold advantage and be in a more powerful position to take that fight. Unfortunately, off the back of that last one, they're really not even in a gold lead any longer, but we'll see if they can outplay. They do have the ability to do that. Senna and Azir, again, as long as you are able to protect these champions, they are going to be incredibly powerful. They're going to put out more consistent damage than really anything from Cloud9.
But one big thing I'm noticing right now, mythic item comparisons. Azir and Senna both have no mythic item completed because they both stopped off for a laning item instead. Executioner's Calling being done first. I already mentioned that, but it does slow your mythic down. And then in the mid lane, the Verdant Barrier for Azir to survive some of the burst from Perks. So in a team fight, they're behind the curve of the game. They're behind their counterparts. Seraphine already has the Moonstone Renewer. LeBlanc already with the Luden's Echo as well. So this could be a very concerning power trough if 100 Thieves end up getting in a fight before those item spikes come online.
I just think it's really risky to actually give up third dragon for free. I think, betting on Blabber never stealing a dragon, on no one ever getting picked off again before, the dragon does spawn just feels so unlikely. Perks now, though, hunting for Damonte.
Okay, Damonte. Oh, he tries to use the wall, but Perks is just too damn clean, man. A little bit more damage, you'll find him. Perks with the flash for the follow. Closer's chasing after him. Udyr's ready to go. He's running real fast, and that's the only thing Udyr does. Perks is forced right back into the tier 1 turret, and Closer ends up grabbing the kill credit on that one. 100 Thieves are on the board.
Perks realizing he was going to go down to the tower and decides he's going to go down. He's going to go down on his own terms. He's tied to the turret there. Does end up getting that kill. but it not only gets the kill, it's the flash off Closer, it's the ult from the Senna. So he forced out a lot of objectives there, and Cloud9 now are pushing in mid lane here pretty heavily. Someday moving up to try to respond, but the tower already gone.
And so is the enemy support. Fudge goes on a killing spree. He is dead for 25 seconds. 100 Thieves coming in, seeing if there's a punish to be made. Closer was on the flank, but Cloud9 can disengage effectively in time, and they don't have to trade anyone back.
Yeah, we'll see if they can set up in time for this potential dragon. Here it is one more time. Perkz laying in wait. This was so slick, honestly, from him. Lands the chain, distorts forward. The Azir scoop comes in to try to push Perkz into the turret, but he distorts back in time before that connects on him. When Closer flash smites here, Distortion's already on cooldown. His only hope was the chain landing before Closer was able to get up on top of him. He knew that wasn't going to happen, so he just goes back into the turret, accepts his death. But still, great play there from Perkz, getting this solo kill, forcing out the flash from the Udyr, the ult from the Senna, which is a really long cooldown because now there's no Senna ultimate for this dragon fight, which actually is a big deal because 100 Thieves have shown up. They completed the mythic items that you were talking about, so they are ready to go. It's mythics for every member in the game right now. And if Cloud9 get this dragon, they are at soul point. And 100 Thieves is just looking like they wanted to fight it, but then they all go mid, so now they're just going to trade a turret here. I think this is a pretty bizarre choice.
Well, Perkz is seeing if there's a punish to be made here, just clearing out the wave. But nobody from 100 Thieves is vulnerable at all. Perkz continues jumping forward, constantly just applying this pressure. Even if there's no chance to get a kill, he's always making 100 Thieves react to him.
Yeah.
Perkz stays in the driver's seat with those sort of aggressive moves. Cloud9 now on soul point.
Yep, and Fudge was pushing in bot side, so it's Cloud9 that actually were playing the map better and got the objective. If 100 Thieves didn't want to take the 5v5, why even show up? Just push out top lane, push out mid lane, you know, shove out all your waves and try to get a little bit back from gold, maybe even steal away some enemy jungle camps. They went mid to try to pressure the turret, but it was easily wave cleared away, and Cloud9 end up grabbing the objective, grabbing the additional gold from those side lanes, and they just really won out in all regards.
Cloud9 up 2,000 gold with an 8-1 lead. We are past 20 minutes now, so if there is a large team fight advantage, a big team fight win at any point for either side, Baron could be the prize, but I don't expect anybody to try to force that down anytime soon.
I will say, Cloud9's Baron take is awful. Like, it is slow. So
yeah, Seraphine plus LeBlanc.
Yeah,
that's not going to do it.
I mean, Olaf is kind of doing some damage in there, sure, but Olaf's probably going to be the one tanking it, so his damage will be reduced. So their Baron take is horrible. It's about as bad as it can get, and it does mean as a result, it's not necessarily a problem, but there's just no sneaking of a Baron that's going to happen. There's no quick counter Baron that's going to happen. It's got to be a team fight win and then take. They are looking for Damonte now.
He tries to get away. Drops down the wall, but Olaf don't care about walls. Perkz grabs the kill. 100 Thieves coming in to turn it into an honest team fight. Blabber stays alive here with a Sterix gauge. Backup comes in over the wall, and Fudge goes on a rampage. Cloud9, 2-0 here in the fight. 100 Thieves thought they had some sort of a punish, but they underestimate C9's coordination. And here it comes, Isaac. It might be slower than molasses in wintertime, but the big purple worm is the target.
Well, and at the very least, they can force out Someday's teleport, right? If Someday comes up, you could always turn. But if no one is going to come from 100 Thieves, sure, you'll take it. It doesn't matter how long it actually takes to knock it down. They get those 2 kills. That is enough. 100 Thieves not willing to try to contest at that Baron. But now you are down 3 dragons to 0. The 1-3-1 team has the Baron buff. Damonte again getting picked off here. Olaf just popping the ult, running straight through. Damonte had no flash. Senna ulti was late. And despite the fact that Blabber had taken some damage here, Hysteric still hadn't even popped. So yeah, Huhi arrives, but you've got no damage. It's Tahm Kench and a full tank Udyr who are not ever going to be able to kill off that Olaf.
No.
And Blabber just looks like he's doing it again, man. Every single game, this guy just seems to dominate when you give him the Olaf. He is finding ways to create advantages. Yes, jungle is nerfed on this patch, but he is level 14.
Blabber ain't.
He's higher level than Damonte. He's the same level as Someday, and he is crushing through, even grabbing the cowl, so he's going to be tough for even Azir to kill off.
Yeah. Blabber's having a really good game, and hey, on Damonte, I think he's having a really bad game. Damonte has done virtually nothing this time around. He's been having a rough time since the very start for the first blood. Blabber goes over the wall. 100 Thieves think they found him out, but the story is the opposite. Blabber's on a rampage. He's in the enemy base. Cloud9's going for the win right now. It looks like they might finally get a chance to punish Blabber, but it never happens. It just don't happen. Closer at least picks up one on the very end of the fight, but it's 1v4 here on the map. Stuck in the base with 15 seconds until anybody's back alive. And this is looking like a 24-minute Cloud9 win. Closer's alive. He runs fast. He punches you, but he does not save a turret. 1 versus 4. Perks going in for a little bit of extra damage. They're dropping the chain CC. They want to pad the stats, but now they don't care. Nexus down. 24-minute Cloud9 win.
What a game. And Blabber, all you can say is he is just built different. This guy, every single time 100 Thieves think they've caught him out, Blabber is flashing over the wall into the enemy base when you think you got him picked off, and he is taking the fight, he is taking you down, and he is taking the win here. Cloud9 playing so aggressive, so dominant, a very different look as far as the composition, but it just felt like once Blabber got ahead, there was no stopping him. 100 Thieves were not organized enough, in these side lanes. They were losing out in the skirmishes. They had some good early laning phases, but it just didn't feel like they had any true answer to the side lane pressure. Cloud9 was able to play the 1-3-1 effectively. Blabber was always there at the right time to take out these fights. They were losing out in the Dragons. The Soul didn't even become an issue, even though Cloud9 got 3 straight Dragons because the game ended too fast. But damn, they made that one look easy. And this is a Cloud9 that is truly on form here, really playing so well.
And I like what you pointed out earlier about 100 Thieves had some good laning phases. It's not like it was a direct stomp, even though the kills were always so far in the favor of C9. 100 Thieves had early gold leads. They were playing some good League of Legends, but that's all they were playing. Some good League of Legends. It felt like there was no greater, deeper strategy to what was going on. The one time we saw them invade and try to make that play with the potential pick on the enemy support, it's turned around from the massive Seraphine ulti, and from that point on, it just felt like Cloud9 were always the ones deciding, 100 Thieves were always the ones reacting, and the reactions were not good enough. Now we're heading to a break here one more time, but on the other side, we're going to hear from Fudge in the Verizon post-game interview. Don't y'all miss it.
I don't really consider it gear. It's an extension of who I am. It blurs the line between fantasy and reality. Sometimes, I can't tell myself from my machine. I think that's by design.
Welcome back to the LCS and the Verizon post-game interview here with Fudge after one of the most dominant victories we have seen so far this spring split. And Fudge, it comes over one of our second-place teams. Yesterday I was hosting the analyst desk, and everyone was talking about this matchup today. Hey, this is the one to watch, and then y'all wipe the floor with 100 Thieves, and you do it on Camille. So my question to you is this. Cloud9 has shown a willingness to put you on everything from the carries to the tanks at this point. And I think that there's something to be said for not every rookie in their career getting that kind of leeway from a team. So what has it been like for you to live in that kind of a team environment where you get the trust as a rookie to go any direction?
Yeah. So I guess first of all, I'm pretty lucky just to play in C9 and just to play with like really insane players like Perks, Blabber, Sven, and Vulcan. Also, I have like really insane coaches: Rainover, Mithy, Vaga V2, Max Wilder, and everyone's like really helpful with like playing all kinds of styles. And also, I think it comes down to how good my teammates are when it comes to me being able to play carries and tanks. A lot of rookies are just like, they sort of just have to play tanks, I guess, and their team isn't too good at playing around them, or they're not like too good at improving because their teammates aren't helping them enough. And I think my teammates have helped me a lot in improving playing as a carry and also playing as a weak side tank, that sort of stuff with like Malphite, I guess, Karma, all these sort of like tanks, I guess. And I think it comes down to, first of all, I think Sven and Vulcan are really insane at playing like the less resources style. Even though we don't play that much Seraphine, I think that they're like insanely good at playing this sort of style because they're just so much better than their opponents that they just go even and like losing matchups. Perks obviously like solo killed Demonte like this game. He like sort of just shit on him in mid lane, and Blabberfish has his one trick, so he sort of just 1v9 the game. But yeah, I'd say it's like pretty easy like settling in as a rookie in this team, and I think it's like pretty lucky for me.
Well, it helps to have good teammates, but I don't want that to overshadow the individual performances that you've been putting up as well. And on that topic, it's not a secret that you faced a fair amount of individual criticism on the outset of this year, particularly looking at the lock-in tournament. But with C9 starting to build this ridiculous separation, it seems, as you guys are separating yourselves from the rest of the competition, I'm just curious now how you reflect past the halfway point of the split on your own personal growth here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say during lock-in tournament, I for sure didn't play well. Definitely the weak link of the team. I still think that I'm not playing like to my best of my like abilities, and I think that to be good internationally, how I'm playing right now will not work ever. And I think my coaches, especially Max and Viga, have helped me a lot with like my laning phase, because that was my biggest weakness, I would say, in lock-in tournament. And now I'm able to just go even in like losing matchups, or be able to, sort of just go down 20 CS when I'm getting like traded sides on or stuff like that, And that's sort of stuff that I wasn't really doing too well during lock-in tournament, and I think it's like showing more during the regular split.
I love that you brought up looking towards international competition already, starting to analyze your play on that kind of a scale. So let's think about it that way. You're already leagues ahead as a team, in front of the rest of the LCS competition. So let's talk about improvement going forward. How do you keep that pace up? How do you keep that distance between yourself and the other teams in the LCS? And how do you individually improve when you are already ahead of the other teams? I think it's a tough thing to do, to look back on a winning team and target in a 24-minute game what you could have possibly done better to be more dominant. How do you improve?
Yeah, so, I think we just have to sort of have the mentality that we're in North America, so obviously our competition is going to be pretty weak. And when our competition's weak, it's easier for us to think that we're good, but I really still think that we're quite bad. Even though we're better than everyone else, I still think that we have so much to improve on, and I think that it's not as simple as just, we're winning, so we're like not making mistakes in game. I think we made quite a bit of like bad mistakes in this game, including myself. I think my laning phase was like pretty poor. I should have had like 20 more CS, I would say, in like laning phase, and I just have to like look at the VOD, like try to review it, and try to like get better at that, because when I go internationally, I'm going to be down 50 CS against freaking Korean top laners. So.
Just one small addition. What do you think internationally? Who's a top laner that you would want to, you say you'd go down 50 CS, but who's a top laner you'd want to go up against on the world stage?
I mean, right now I'd say I'd go down 50 CS, but in the future I don't think so. But I think like obviously there's like Naguri from FPX. I think is like a massive one. We have a lot of like the shy memes, the fudge memes. That would be pretty fun, I guess. That'd be a lot of fun, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, congratulations on a killer victory here to close out the week and a stellar run for Cloud9 through the first half of the spring split. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, Fudge.
Thank you, Dash. All
right, well, from here, we're going to head to a break. But before we go, I want to thank you, of course, again, for joining me, Fudge. But we've got Team Liquid looking for their own revenge here against Immortals, right after this.
You've saved me so much on my insurance with that Russell rate. You become my muse.
Russell, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
I feel like I captured your kind eyes.
You want the real deal? Like a good neighbor? State Farm is there.